Hello, it's Susan here from Komori no Hime Cosplay, and today we're going to be making a costume that could be used for either Popuko or Pipimi from the series Pop Team Epic. For the school uniform, we're going to be using Simplicity 8160. We're going to be using View A with the long sleeves, and we're going to start with the collar, and we're going to cut 2 of the collar pieces out of some blue cotton. Then we're going to put right sides together and sew the collar together all along the outer edge, leaving the space closest to the neck open. Turn the collar right side out and press it flat. Then we're going to sew along the neck opening to keep everything in place. While we still have blue thread in the machine, we're going to work on the cuffs. So we're going to cut the 2 cuff pieces out of the blue fabric. Then we're going to fold them in half and sew them together along the side. Fold the cuff in half again and sew it together along the edge. I also zigzagged along the edge to keep it from fraying. Now we're going to switch over to white thread, and we're going to cut 2 of the sleeves out of white cotton and zigzag around the edges to keep them from fraying. Then we're going to fold the sleeve in half and sew it together along the side. Turn the sleeve right side out. Then we're going to insert the cuff into the sleeve and sew it around the edge. Then we're going to fold the cuff back out so that it looks like this. Cut out the front and back bodice pieces out of the white fabric, and we're going to sew the darts according to the directions included with the pattern, and then we're going to zigzag around all of the edges to keep them from fraying. Putting right sides together, sew the front and back of the bodice together along the shoulder seams. Next, we're going to sew the sailor collar to the collar of the shirt. Cut out the front and back facing pieces and zigzag around the edges to keep them from fraying. Then sew the facing pieces together along the shoulder seams. Next, we're going to sew the facing onto the collar of the shirt. Top stitch under the collar to keep the facing in place. Sew the front and back together along the side seam, and we're going to hem the bottom of the shirt using a rolled hem. Next, we're going to sew the sleeves on to the bodice. Cut 2 of the insert piece out of white cotton. Then we are going to put right sides together and sew it together along the top. Turn the insert piece right side out and press it flat. Then we're going to zigzag along the edges to keep them from fraying and also to hold the 2 sides together. Place the insert piece into the collar, and we're going to sew it in place on either side. Then we're also going to tack the facing down at the shoulder seams to keep everything in place when it's worn. To make the necktie, we're going to start by cutting a rectangle out of some red cotton. Then we're going to finish the edges using a rolled hem. For the knot of the tie, we're going to use the pattern piece that was included in the Simplicity pattern. Cut 1 out of some red cotton and apply some fusible interfacing to the back of it. Then we're going to fold it in half and sew it together along the top. Turn the tie right side out and press it flat. Then we're going to zigzag along the edges. Putting right sides together, fold the tie in half and sew it together along the side. Turn the knot piece right side out and insert the 2 edges of the tie through it. I found it interesting that the Simplicity pattern didn't tack the knot onto anything, they just left it as is, so that's what we're going to be doing for this video. And for the skirt, there was a pleated skirt pattern included in the Simplicity pattern along with instructions. I made mine using the same technique that I used for my Moonshine skirt. I will put a link to that video in the description box below, so you can check it out for the sake of making this video not be super long. But this is what the uniform looks like. So we're all done with the uniform part. You could use it for either Popuko or Pipimi, and now we're going to be making their hair accessories. For Pipimi's bow, we're going to start by cutting a large rectangle out of the red cotton and apply some fusible interfacing on the back of it to stiffen it. For the knot of the bow, we're just going to reuse the knot portion from the school uniform, so I just cut one of the knot pieces and again added a piece of fusible interfacing to the back of it. Next, we're going to fold both the large and small rectangles in half and sew them together along the side. Turn the tubes right side out and press them flat for both the large part of the bow and for the knot. Then we're going to zigzag along the edges to keep them from fraying. Putting right sides together, fold the base bow in half and sew it together along the side. Then for the bow knot, we're going to fold the edges inward and sew them into place. Wrap the knot piece around the center of the bow and hand sew it into place. I also hand sewn on a hair clip so that it can be attached to the wig. To make Popuko scrunchies, we're going to start by cutting 2 rectangles out of yellow fabric. Then we're going to press the shorter edges inward. Then, putting right sides together, fold the rectangle in half and sew it together along the side. Turn the tube right side out and cut a piece of elastic. Then we're going to thread the elastic through the tube and sew the 2 ends of the elastic together. Hand sew the 2 edges of the scrunchie together around the elastic to finish the hair accessories. And with that, the Pop Team Epic cosplay tutorial is done. For more cosplay tutorial videos, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching!